apologize. Carroll County Board of Commissioners work session for Thursday, February 28th to order. First item on the agenda, we're going to call on Magistrate Court Chief Judge Alton Johnson.
Thank y'all for putting up with me today. I have to have it in my hand. Not gonna cost us any money, but it will cost the folks to use the court a little bit. I'm not a computer person. I would take out my pager and show it to y'all, but I left it at the jail because Gerald scared me at 1 o'clock, said I needed to be here. Y'all don't normally see me, and I have to be home before dark because I don't drive at night anymore. So what I'm asking for is for us to consider allowing the magistrate court to file for a technology fee on all civil cases. The reason we're doing this, we have a computer system that hasn't been serviced by the state in over 3 years. We don't have any, right now it's a free system, and it was a good system at one time, but apparently I thought it was going down between 3 and 4 times a week. But apparently, according to my head clerk, it goes down about 3 or 4 times a day. And the problem is we can't update it or do anything with it. Now, we've looked at 2 different systems, and they're going to run anywhere, cost to the county anywhere between $12,000 and probably $18,000. Now, in my view, what we need to do, and it will probably be all courts, I'll let Mr. Lee talk to it, but it would probably be good for all courts to file this fee. You can file up, I used to think it was $5, but it's my understanding now that you can file up to $10 for each civil case. Now, if they will allow us to do this on dispossessory cases too, it will, we can keep our fees lower. If they won't allow for dispossessories, it's going to have to be twice of what we would have to have. On civil cases, we file roughly 5,500 cases a year, some years more, some years less. Now, this fee may not completely cover what we have to have, but it will cover part of it. And I always believed it's a lot better to let the folks that use the court pay for the court. I'll answer any questions I can, but if I got 2 attorneys behind me that are a whole lot smarter than Ms. Blackman and Mr. Jackson will probably answer more questions than I can. But what we have to do, is my understanding, what y'all have to do is ask for local legislation. We'll go kidnap Jay Collins or Mr. Dugan and see if we can get them to approve this. And if we can, it'll help to at least defer some of the costs that we're going to have. Second thing I got on the agenda that I didn't know I was going to talk about is that I'm not sure if y'all are aware, but our higher court has saw fit to do away with part of our old DUI law. What that means, there's no longer, if you're arrested and you refuse to do a test, they used to be able to suspend your license for a year. You can't do that any longer. So we're going to have some type of way. Now, they can always come to my house and trip over my dog and 6 cats that Miss Kelsey has, and I'll be happy to sign a search warrant to take blood. But it is going to require search warrants to be issued. I think there'll be a minimum cost. I've talked to Brad Robinson, I've talked to Jeff Richards, haven't talked to the chiefs of police, but we need to get all on board on the same page and do one system. You have counties like Cobb County and Clayton County years ago went with one system for everybody, and what that does, and folks, I'm not a computer person, I can do more on a legal pad than I can thumb typing. Never thumb typed or emailed or Facebooked. But if we do this, we need to do it smartly and get everybody on the same system where we can transfer this to the sheriff's department and eliminate paper. If we're going to do it, let's do it right. Right now, y'all pay $4,500 a year for forms. If we can do this right, we can eliminate that. But now, Alan's got his system. I think, is Alan still here? Yeah. Does Judge Kaysen have her own, Judge Edie, I apologize. Does she have her own system? I think Palmer's got his own. In a perfect world, we would all be on the same system where everybody could communicate. You wouldn't have to carry or fax a copy over to somebody. I know y'all email, but I don't email, so I have to carry it or fax it. But before we jump to anything, let's all get on. Let's get where if Bremen needs a search warrant done, we can buy one laptop and it can be chaired by the judges, and each week, and they can just. I don't know how your better half, or worst half here today. Mr. McAdams can tell y'all how it's done. I can't. But apparently you got to have some kind of signing pad. And if it's like that one at Kroger, I won't be able to read my signature anyway because it never looks like mine. So you got to have that, and it's going to cost some money. And also my understanding, according to Mr. McAdams and Gerald, it's going to cost us about anywhere between $4,500 and $7,500 to run a hard line. And we got to have this for high-speed internet. This high-speed internet, apparently it saves it on the cloud or somewhere. So we won't have to have a servicer, but you have to have it to transfer this to the state or to wherever we have it. Y'all got any questions? I don't talk to. I need to talk.
What's your?
No, if you go with the state system, you're talking about the state system on what I wrote here?
Yes, sir.
They're going to, it would be free for the first year. Now, unfortunately, on both systems, they're not looking to be going online at the earliest about a year. And
would this be, if this was enacted, I see down here the fee could range from $2 to $5.
well, that's actually incorrect. It can range between 2 and 10. Okay. If we have our dispossessors, which we file more dispossessors are filed in our court than any other cases, I'd love to keep it about $2. Right now, our magistrate court filing fees are probably less than anybody in the circuit. We're, for our dispossessor cases, only $78. We're still the court of the people, and we need to keep it as least expensive as we can. But having said that, those that use the court need to pay for it too. I can go politic that. Taxpayers don't need to have this burden. And it's going to take some work from us to do it. We got to ask for it. And we should have asked for it 10 years ago because it was available 10 years ago.
So looking at the numbers, the possibility of the revenue stream that we could bring in at those figures, and then going back and looking at the annual cost, it's a possibility it could be a wash, right?
Hopefully. Now, you have some startup costs too. As I said, there's about $4,500 to $7,500 from running some type of line, copper line from the jail to our office to meet we would have to have that to meet the requirements for that cloud or whatever it is.
Okay. And what would, as far as the other courts that you were mentioning, what would we need to do to see?
They already have their system.
Okay.
We've have it, I'll tell you your stories before all y'all's time. Years ago when Miss Maybrick and we went to a system that based out of Colorado or Arizona. Well, hell, that system had filed bankruptcy filings against it and everything else. And we went with that for a while. That system got where no one serviced it. So we went with the state system, and I think Alan was with the state system for a while too, wasn't he, Alan? And it was free. And Micropac's team has spoke with us. They're a good system. I would like to, in a perfect world, as I said, we would all be on the same system. We don't have a perfect world, and I'm not on any system. I carry a pager. That ain't no lie. I do carry a pager. I know how to operate a pager, and I still remember most people's numbers.
Yes, sir.
But what I'm wanting to do, if we do this, and Allie may later want to do it, and other courts may, this will help defer the cost. Will it cover it all? Hell, I don't know. Depends how hard work we do and how many people want to get renters out of their house that's not paying. So that's where we stand. But it will defer some, and that's better than asking the taxpayer to pay for it, in my opinion. Now, it takes some work. It's going to take us getting to our legislatures and telling them to twist some arms to get this passed. To me. Now, we got to keep that. We got to do better than we do with the law library. We got to, if we get this money, it's got to go for whatever it says for. It's got to go for technology. It's got to go. I think we can use it for what we're talking about on DUIs because a lot of that's going to be technology. But it can't be used for anything else. This can't be a county revenue, if that's what you're asking, no. But it can defer the cost of this system that we know we're going to have an expense of.
Thank you.
You got some questions, ask them.
You explained
She
it.
has that
Al,
rule.
You mean I done talked long enough?
You explained it well enough. I got it.
All right. Anybody else? We all ought to take Marty to Jones's before he leaves, eat some catfish, but he ain't on my diet unless I got bait. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you,
We're
Judge.
going to miss you, and Patty Brown told me she's going to miss you too.
Thank you, Judge.
Any questions?
Anything else for the judge?
Can y'all try to do this? Now, the problem is we got a time limit. I think Tuesday. Wait a minute. Tuesday? we gotta get up to Collins by Tuesday. I tried to call him, wouldn't answer my phone.
We've got a few days, but the resolution, y'all won't meet, so Stacy will be preparing the resolution based, and Avery off of what Troup County has done, if y'all will incline for Tuesday night for y'all to consider.
And it would a whole lot be
Be
better
glad to
coming
add
from
that.
y'all. I pissed too many people off. I pissed the whole room of them off this morning. Y'all got any other questions? Y'all come out, we cook fish every now and then. Y'all don't mind, I'm gonna go out the same way I can.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, we'll go over financials, Tuesday as always. We'll have, Alicia will be here as well to go over those. If y'all got any questions between now and then, feel free. No, Clint comes by here from being one of the new ones. We appreciate the time he's taken to go over things with you, and never puts you on spot, gives you a chance. You just don't, for some reason, know where all $50 million are, do you, always? So we appreciate y'all working with her. She's still taking on the capacity of that. Item 8.2, solid waste wheel loader. We'll call on Mr. Charles Pope.
Thank you, Chairman. What y'all have is to replace loader at the landfill, a waste haul loader. We usually try to buy one every 4 years, and then that pushes the oldest one out in 12 years, which the one we're going to take out of service has got 32,000 hours on it now. So this one here is the price on it is a state contract is $188,301, and then we added the warranty to it, which is a 72-month or 6,000 hour powertrain warranty. So it bring it to $191,399, and that will be paid out of solid waste monies.
Charles, with us buying tractors every 4 years, this week we was talking to a John Deere man at the Capitol, and he said that he asked if we ever thought about leasing them and just paying a set fee with that, because he said y'all use them up, then sell them for nothing, and go spend another $200,000 on them, and use them up, sell them for nothing. And if you're just continuing, have we ever looked at that?
No, not a lease program. Actually, we use it 12
We
years
actually keep them online. I can go ahead and charge for 12 years because we use ours for inventory for parts on some of the last ones, so we don't sell them and get rid of them.
Yeah.
If we had a fleet of them, probably, but just the one tractor.
But he just said, I was meeting with him, he was at the Capitol today, yesterday, and he was asking me why we did that, and they had, evidently John Deere has a good program.
Yeah.
I just was wondering if you've ever looked into it.
No, we have not. Well, we try to stay with the same brand so we can take two and make one run. Actually, today we got two at the shop. We just have one running at solid waste today because it broke down. So we interchange the parts and we stay with the Caterpillar.
And Mr. Pope, I'm assuming again on this extended warranty, you're feeling like that's a good value at $3,000. The extended amount of time that it would go out, that sounds like that would be something
Yeah,
that would be
absolutely.
well worth its while if something happened. My concern on a lot of this stuff is even if you have people that know how to work on it, everything becomes more computerized every day. And so when something goes wrong, even if it's a good piece of equipment, it costs a lot to fix it, so.
That's right. The $3,000 is actually a good deal. If just one part goes wrong, the turbo or something, it's $4,500. So it would be a good deal for this 6 years.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Charles? See none. Thank you, Charles, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Call on item 8.3, we'll call on Ms. Stacy Blackman, County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. You have before you a proposed TEFRA resolution. This is for the tax-exempt financing for Tanner Medical Center and the Carroll City County Hospital Authority. Because it's tax-exempt bonds, It's really like a line of credit up to 45 million. Your approval is required. You would not be backing the bonds or giving any representation about the credit worthiness, but it's required by the IRS to have a TEFRA hearing, which was held yesterday, and no one from the public showed up to object. And this financing would be used to purchase the electronic medical record system and related equipment.
We're not responsible for any payback on this.
No, there's not, this is not like the other bonds that you've done where you backed it up to 7 mils. So this is just like a private financing through a private lender.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Formality there. We'll move into the business session 9.1. We've got the appointments to the library board. Consideration of appointments, if y'all got any additional you want to bring today. If not, you'll bring them Tuesday night for those to be heard. Any others? All right, we'll be prepared Tuesday night. Well, as always, it's hard to keep much as a secret, but as discussed at the January Winter Board Retreat, I am submitting my resignation today as chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners effective March 17th, if HR will allow me to do that. I have accepted a position in Governor Brian Kemp's administration, position to be named later. I'm extremely proud of what this board, and I say we as a board, have accomplished over the past 6 years and almost full 3 months here. I've also had the pleasure of working with some of the most dedicated employees I've ever worked with. Leaving this position is a difficult one, but Carroll County will be my home, and I'm not moving. And I want to thank the citizens for allowing me to, and entrusting me with this position, because it is a very, very tough position and one I've cherished being in. And hope to be serving at a broader capacity at the state level. So with that, we'll add this to the March 5th agenda to do a replacement of an interim. So be prepared Tuesday night. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Anything else? And if we have nothing else,
This meeting's adjourned.
we stand adjourned.
I'll forget my computer. Vicky's gonna send me a text in a few minutes.
Why didn't you do that?